When I work on projects or programs, one of the first things I do is to create a dossier using Microsoft Excel to track pertinent activities that will help me to hit the ground running. This video series will show you the step-by-step process and techniques that will help you get more done in less time. I'm Glenn with the Media TC Group, and in this video, I'll show you how easy it is to set up a spreadsheet so you can easily track the progress of your projects and stay on top of all your work. The key, however, is spending the time up front to set up your document so when it comes time to focus on your project execution, you'll quickly realize how this technique will save you so much time. To get things started, I'm going to create a tab called an action log. This first label is the action item, which will contain the following. Starting in column A, action item ID, release/sprint if applicable, meeting if applicable, WBS number. I realize I'm starting to dish out jargon, but stick with me, and I'll be explaining these terms throughout the series. Initiated by, date initiated, status, description. It doesn't have to be in this particular order. Assigned to, comments/updates, source, link to, risk ID if applicable, issue ID if applicable, decision ID if applicable, LLR ID if applicable. I abbreviated it, which stands for Lessons Learned or Retrospective, and target finish date. Recently, I also started to incorporate the following columns: work type, IT service desk number, if applicable, Jira ticket number, and artifact, if applicable. The next step in my process includes setting up the format and layout from a readability perspective and aesthetics, particularly the alignment section. From a best practice perspective, I align the text to the top and align content to the left as a starting point. Scanning across the column header, I'm now looking for specific labels like date fields to set a standard format so there's no second guessing if the entry was month day or day month. So for the field date initiated, right click and go down to format cells to open the format cells window. Select custom, scroll down to the bottom, look for the date format YYYY-MM-DD-H:/MMM. Please change it to YYYY-MMM-DD and click OK. From the description field, click on Wrap Text. Do the same thing for comments/updates. Oh, and let me quickly add, if applicable, to the column label IT Service Desk number. As for the target finish date, right-click on column U. Click on Format Cells. Select Custom. Select YYYY-MMM-DD and click OK. The next thing I do is create a separate line for the secondary information like the if applicable label. It's better to have them in a separate line. So let's work on that next. I'm also looking for columns that require more column width spacing throughout this step, like the description and comments and updates fields. Since the if applicable is secondary information, I remove the bold font from it so it doesn't compete with the primary label header. I'm also going to reduce the font size. I do one final scan of the header fields to make sure all the columns are set to my liking. The next step is to format the worksheet. Go to the View tab. In the Show section, click on Grid Lines to remove it from the worksheet. I will select roughly 20 rows and drag my cursor to ensure I select all the column entries. Once the appropriate area is highlighted, make sure you're on the Home tab and click on the Format as Table. In this example, I'm going to select the gray table style. The Create Table dialog box pops up. I put a check mark on my table has headers. Click OK, and you will see that Excel converted the selected section with the appropriate table styles. If you want to add more rows to your table, the best practice here is to select the little corner marker at the rightmost section of your table and drag it down. This ensures that the new entries will inherit the correct formatting assigned to each cell, like the date format, drop-down list for the list of values, wrap text, etc. Next up, I pre-populate specific sections of the newly created table with the following. I input A for action in column A, followed by a 3-digit unique number starting from 001. The way to quickly pre-populate the series, I add the sequence A002. Highlight the first and second cells, then double-click on the bottom right marker to fill the rest of the cells in column A. Next, we're going to create a new tab to hold our list of values. Click on the New Sheet icon. Label it Values. It's up to you what you want to label this as. Let's remove the grid lines in the new worksheet. Go to View and click on Grid Lines to remove the check mark. For my personal preference, the next thing I do is click on the top left corner of the Excel sheet to select the entire worksheet. Alternatively, you can press the Command on a Mac or Control on a PC plus the A key to select the whole worksheet. Please change the font size to 9. To create my custom list of values that I will be referencing in the Action tab, I'm going to highlight and select Release/Sprint, Work Type, and Meeting Column Headers. After you select these 3 column headers, press Command or Control C to copy them. Go to the Values tab and paste using Command or Control V to paste it in cell B1. Head back to the Action tab, copy the status header field, and paste it in cell E1. The next step is to reformat your content as needed. Like removing any borders, bold fonts, and changing the font text color, in this case to black font. Now let's add our list of values for each of the items. In column B, I'll enter sprint 1, 2, 3, and so on, but it could easily be release 1, 2, 3, etc. This will entirely be up to you. I utilize this column for work type if I'm managing operations type work and project type work. This way, if I need to analyze the percentage of time that the team spends on operations work versus project work, I can perform this type of analysis. For the meeting list of values, I usually input the name of the meeting, like weekly stand-up, executive steering committee, change advisory board meeting, etc. Still, in this example, I'll keep it simple and use meeting 1, meeting 2, etc. I take the extra step to list this out, and it helps me to identify and go back to the action item tab in the future to know where the information came from. This also allows me to validate assumptions and follow up on details with the person who mentioned the item during that meeting or event. As for the status field, I use the following as my list: open, closed, hold, in progress, noted. Creating this list of values is entirely up to you based on your needs. Next, I'll go ahead and format my worksheet similar to action item and apply the alignment as necessary. The next step is to apply the data validation to the individual cells. From the column Release Sprint, highlight the entire column range from rows A2 to A25. Click on the Data tab, click on Data Validation, click on Data Validation from the drop-down. In the Settings tab under the Allow drop-down list, select List. Click on Source and click on the right side of the input box and highlight the entries starting from cells B2 to B6. Clicking on cell B2 and you should now see the list of values for us to select. Go to Work Type and follow the same steps. Highlight cells C2 to C25. Click on Data Validation and click on the Data Validation from the drop-down menu. In the Settings tab pop-up window, select List. Click on the Values tab and select and highlight cells C2 to C3 and click OK. You should now have the appropriate drop-down menu. From here on, it's a rinse and repeat process that you should now be familiar with. I'll fast forward this section to complete these steps. And there you have it. In this video, we created 2 tabs that will become the stepping stones for this multi-part series to create a project dossier, so you can easily track the progress of your projects and stay on top of all your work. My name is Glenn with the Media TC Group, and if this video was helpful, click on the like button, consider subscribing, and tap the bell notification icon so you'll know when I publish the following video for this series. Thanks for watching until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.